Hey there, and welcome. So today we're going to dive into a concept that honestly sounds pretty simple, but it has some absolutely profound effects on learning. We're talking about predictability. We're going to see how a stable, consistent environment doesn't just, help manage a classroom. It actually unlocks the brain's potential for some really deep learning. So, I want to start with a question for you. Think about a classroom. What do you think drains more of a student's mental energy than the actual process of learning? It's not the tricky math problem. It's not the complex chapter they have to read. It's something way more fundamental. The answer? Reading the room. Yeah, all of us, but especially students. We spend a ton of brain power just trying to figure out what's going on, what we're supposed to do next, and what the heck the expectations are when things feel ambiguous. That constant mental searching and worrying, it's a huge hidden drain on our focus, pulling it away from where it really needs to be.
And that brings us right to our first big idea, why predictability matters so much. And this isn't just about classroom management tricks. No, this is about understanding the psychology of how our brains are wired to work best when they're in a stable, consistent setting.
So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, predictable practices are all about creating these positive, preventative, and, you guessed it, predictable classroom environments. The whole goal is to let students spend way less mental energy on reading the room, so they have more time and brain power for reading to learn. It's that simple shift. The brilliant psychologist and Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, he just nailed the psychology behind this. He said, familiarity breeds liking. It's so true. Our brains are literally wired to find comfort in patterns. When we know what's coming, we feel safe, we feel comfortable, and that allows us to just function better. And the research backs this up with like a clear domino effect. When students feel more secure and the expectations are crystal clear, you know what happens? Behavioral problems just naturally start to go down. And that feeling of safety, it helps them develop these crucial social and emotional skills. The direct result of all of this is the one thing every teacher is looking for: higher rates of real, genuine student engagement.
Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you create this kind of environment? Well, there's a really powerful framework of 10 specific practices designed to build this exact kind of consistency. Let's take a look at what they are.
This framework is amazing because it's so comprehensive. You can almost see these 10 practices fitting into 3 big buckets. First, you've got the physical space, keeping the room orderly, making sure everyone can get to their stuff easily, cutting down on distractions. Then you've got the structure of time, things like having set routines, a posted schedule, and, really important, giving a heads up before things change. And finally, and this might be the most important part, there's the human element, the teacher's own consistent mood, clear signals to get everyone's attention, and a fair, predictable way of handling misbehavior. Altogether, they create this incredible system of stability. Okay, a list is great, but let's get real. What does this stuff actually look like in a real classroom? Let's zoom in on a couple of these practices to see the impact they can have. I'm just going to put a number up on the screen. 25%. What could that possibly represent in a classroom setting? Any ideas? Get this. Research shows that up to a quarter, a full 25% of all instructional time can be totally lost just to messy, disorganized transitions between activities. This is exactly where practice number 2, having defined routines, becomes a total game changer. By structuring those little moments, you can actually get back a massive chunk of learning time. I absolutely love this quote. And you might not expect it, but it's from Marie Kondo. It's about tidying up your house, right? But it perfectly explains the idea of an orderly classroom. Her whole point is that storage should make it super easy to put things away. When it's effortless for students to put materials back where they belong, the room just stays organized, which means fewer distractions and a better sense of shared ownership. And here's the cool cognitive science behind it. Routines aren't just about being efficient. They're about automation. Think of your brain like a computer. When all those little routine tasks are just running in the background automatically, it frees up so much processing power, your mental RAM, for the main event. In a classroom, automating things like turning in homework frees up a student's brain for the heavy lifting, critical thinking, and being creative. And let's be really clear about something. This whole framework, it's not about punishment. It's about being proactive. It's about being positive. It's designing systems that stop problems before they even have a chance to start. A reactive, punishment-first approach might stop a behavior for a minute, sure, but a predictable system, that builds good habits that last a lifetime.
So this brings us to what's really at the heart of all this. The real power of this entire framework. We're talking about something so much bigger than just a list of rules tacked to a wall. We're talking about the deep human need for consistency.
This is a crucial point. We have to reframe how we think about this. Predictability does not mean boring. It doesn't mean monotonous. What it means is creating psychological safety. It's building a foundation of dependability where students feel secure enough to take a chance, to ask a question, to maybe fail and try again, to really truly engage.
And a huge piece of that foundation is the teacher. This quote says it all. It's not about being a certain type of person. You don't have to be super bubbly or super serious. The key is to be consistent. When students know day in and day out that they can count on a stable, fair adult in the room, it changes everything. The teacher literally becomes the thermostat, setting a predictable emotional climate for everyone.
And this is why this matters on the deepest possible level. For so many students who are facing chaos and instability in their lives outside of school, that classroom might be the only place where they experience any consistency or dependability. Those 7 or 8 hours could be the most stable part of their entire day. That makes these practices not just helpful, but absolutely essential.
So at the end of the day, predictability creates a security that people need for their potential to really flourish. And that leaves us with one last thought, because this idea goes way beyond the classroom. I want you to think about it. Where in your own world, in your work, in your teams, in your life, could a little more predictability unlock some of that hidden potential?